So it was September of 2023 when I began my search for the Grey Wolf RV trailer, aka Grey Wolf 2, that we have behind me. And that was born out of a trip that I had taken to Squamish and Whistler, where I basically froze and starved for 36 hours straight in my rooftop tent because it was just about freezing and pouring rain. And yeah, life was pretty miserable. Nevertheless, I really honestly was looking for a trailer that was going to be about 2 to 3 years old, in good pre-owned condition, so that I didn't have to take the financial hit of depreciation in the first few years, but I could also put my own spin on it, and I could equip it in such a way that it would enable me to go back and continue to do these, extended mountain bike trips, well, in any weather. And thus began the debate of to FLX or not FLX. So hello and welcome back to the Grey Wolf RV YouTube channel. And in today's video, we're going to be discussing whether you should be looking at buying a Winnebago Micro Mini FLX or non-FLX. So somewhat annoyingly, it became quite apparent very quickly in looking at the previous year's models. Of course, Grey Wolf 2 here is a 2024 model, which is virtually identical to the 2025, less a different stove on the inside. I digress. Looking back at the previous year's models from when the FLX was actually introduced, Winnebago, to their credit, made pretty great improvements year over year. They lightened up the color palette from the dark green and with the darker woods. They became lighter, and then from 2023 to 2024, we inherited the extra large kitchen window, which is honestly really beautiful. And we also got the Truma AquaGo Comfort Plus over the Comfort, but more on that later. Nevertheless, looking at the FLX and the non-FLX products in fall of 2023, the FLX just made sense. It had the 3000 watt Xantrax XC Pro inverter, it had all of the Truma appliances, and of course the Lithionics lithium-ion battery. So when I priced out how much it was going to cost to purchase my own lithium-ion batteries, have them installed, get to nearly the same capacity, have somebody install the actual inverter, because in 2023, the non-FLX was not inverter prepped. That alone was bringing my out-the-door cost very close to the FLX and not offering sort of not only that complete package, but just that turnkey factor where myself, I didn't have to worry about spending a whole summer modifying it. I could just pick it up and go out and use it in the way, for the way that I intended on it. And that to me was really worth it. And so, well, needless to say, things escalated pretty quickly, but I am truly happy that at the time I got what I got. Now, in 2025, the situation has fundamentally changed for two reasons. First and foremost, we know what we know now. We know that while 400 watts on the FLX is twice that on the non-FLX, we also know it is woefully inadequate if you are using it even in direct sunlight in the middle of the summer. We also know that the Truma Aventa Eco air conditioner will suck up that battery at approximately 1% per minute, which, though contrary to what I was told, also means that basically you're not using the air conditioner on the battery unless it's like your last day and you have auxiliary means to charge it, etc., right? Which then brings us to the Truma VarioHeat furnace, and as wonderful and energy efficient as it is, Winnebago decided that they were not going to duct it into the underbelly, which means that the non-FLX is actually more capable in terms of, I don't call it survivability, but utilization in cold temperatures, even if that furnace is less energy efficient. Which then brings us to the AquaGo Comfort Plus. And this is going to be a very, very personal decision because it's good. It's really, really good. If you haven't already seen the deep dive series where if I'm being honest, I got quite passionate about the AquaGo Comfort Plus and why Winnebago isn't shouting its praises from the rooftops. It's because in an off-grid, off-road environment, having efficient water management is essential because in, again, our experience, we found out that we ran out of water left, right, and center with only a 35-gallon freshwater tank. Is that enough to justify the cost differential between the FLX and non-FLX? I mean, a pragmatic person would say no. A pragmatic person would say, I'll invest the difference in a couple of water totes and carry that on top of or inside or wherever, even if they have to go into town, because for them, whether that's a $10, $15, $20,000 difference, I think here in Canada it is actually, it's like 59 to 72, so like $13,000 difference between the non-FLX and the FLX. Yeah, that's tricky. At the same time, this is all predicated on you coming into a non-FLX model and still adding more features and capabilities than what the FLX was going to offer out the gate. So what I mean by that is, if knowing what we know about, say, the 400 watts of solar, you're going to do what we are hopefully going to do this year, which is add more solar, then at that point, why not just get the non-FLX and throw as much up there as you possibly could if you're going to be doing and investing in that anyways? Is there really any cost savings getting the FLX over the non-FLX in that standpoint? Secondarily, for 2025, the non-FLX is actually inverter prepped. So I am not a trailer electrician wiring specialist, but in my plebeian consumer mind, I would expect to see a mounting position and have some cables already run from there to the actual fuse box, where simply you just need to come in and add that hardware. And if that's the case, then, though Xantrax is a Canadian company, shout out to them, and I won't say who, but I was speaking to an employee of a company in that space. They actually had good things to say about the brand, but also acknowledged that in recent years, I guess post-acquisition, that they were suffering from some quality control. So maybe you don't want that Xantrax XC Pro and you want to just spend all the money and get all the things, namely a Victron Energy, which, let's be honest, they are kind of the name of the game when it comes to this stuff, both in the van and in the RV side of things. So now you have the opportunity to choose whatever inverter charger you want. Again, all things being equal, I have nothing poor to say about that Xantrax XC Pro. Moreover, in looking around, doing my own consumer research and due diligence, it actually offers the best peak load wattage compared to any of them. I think it's like 6,500 watts versus 6,000 or something to that effect. So, kudos to them. And I haven't had any issues whatsoever with it. So, again, these are all very personal decisions, and I'm not trying to cop out, but I just want to give you the best, most honest information that I can. Okay, so now you've come in and you've added your inverter charger, you still need batteries. Now, Lithionics predominantly only sells through dealers in that Winnebago distribution network. I don't know why they don't do direct to consumer, because while they are owned by Winnebago, they are and do function as a separate entity. They are, again, in my opinion, still the best of the best when it comes to feature set and size energy density. It also has a built-in heater element. So if you are up here in, Canada or the northern 48, or northern 48, northern part of lower 48, or Alaska, lithium-ion batteries will not charge if they are below zero. So you need that built-in heating element if you're going to try to capture any solar in those cool conditions. And lastly, all of the testing, so in Canada it's the CMVSS, Canadian Motor Vehicle Safety Standards. In the US, I think it's called United States Motor Vehicle Safety Standards or something like that. They're essentially a copy paste of each other, but those are all the testing standards that vehicles actually have to go through when it comes to, being safe. And as I understand it, Lithionics is the only lithium-ion battery manufacturer that is doing this testing, and they also have this UL rating. I'm not totally clear on that. Maybe I should do a deep dive series just on the Lithionics batteries. Nevertheless, they have all of the ratings and the testing, et cetera, et cetera. So that gives me a very high degree of consumer confidence, both in terms of the battery performance and longevity, but also you're quite literally sleeping on top of it. So yeah, that's a nice peace of mind to have. There are a couple of their batteries that come to mind. So Battleborn is a very recognizable brand in the industry. They offer a version of their batteries with the built-in heating element. And Go Power, a division of the Dometic company, they have a 300 amp hour lithium-ion battery. Now granted, theirs is kind of like mounts flat, or you need to have like a vertical mounting, so a really good secure spot to mount it to. But that also has UL rating and a built-in heating element. So yeah, pro tip there. All right, so now that we've covered inverter and batteries that you would need to invest in if you are going the non-FLX route, next up would be solar. So we have the 400 watts of solar that is standard on the FLX. You can easily go up there and add additional panels. You can add 3 100s, and I actually did some measuring recently where you might be able to add 2 100s and an additional 200 for a total of 800 watts. Now, at the time, and I apologize because I have not confirmed this, but at the time that I purchased the 2024, I believe the non-FLX had a PWM style solar charge controller that's pulse width modulation, compared to an MPPT, which is what the FLX has. MPPT meaning maximum power point tracking. Technical names, acronyms, all that good stuff. Basically, the only thing you need to know is that MPPT is just more efficient. So when it comes to solar and batteries and off-grid, it's all about pinching pennies in that efficiency. And then maybe this is a good point to make too as well. If you don't have any interest about this stuff, you just want to get in and go, then do what I did. Spend the money. You know what you're getting. You've seen the videos, hopefully. But yes, that will give you an idea on sort of the capabilities that this platform offers. And then you can do as essentially we've done here in the seasons moving forward. Then you can look at, okay, I want to improve this or improve that based on your own needs and wants and requirements. So where does that fundamentally leave us? Well, it could theoretically leave you with, $10, $12, $13,000 in your pocket to put towards additional solar on the roof, to put towards that inverter charger, and to put towards a big battery bank for essentially the same cost of the FLX. If you are looking at buying a non-FLX and adding more capability to it. At the end of the day, and I apologize in advance, but at the end of the day, it will be a personal decision. When I took delivery of mine, I missed that window to get in some late season camping, but I was new and I didn't really want to bite off more than I could chew. So in hindsight, I have zero regrets buying the FLX. If I was to do it again, because this FLX is actually for sale at the time of recording, would I get an FLX or non-FLX? And I think the honest answer will come down to timing. What I don't want to do is take delivery at the beginning of May and looking at, going out on trips the middle or end of May. I just simply wouldn't have time to do it. So I would get the FLX and I would move forward. If I had the time and I didn't live in a climate that, to record videos, we're sitting next to a fire, then maybe I would look at that FLX. I would sacrifice the heater efficiency. I would forget that the air conditioner ever existed. And I would shed a tear for the lack of the Aqua Go Comfort Plus, because gosh, that's a good water heater. $13,000 water heater, but good nonetheless. So with that, I say, to FLX or not to FLX? That is the question. And I think that is a very personal question, but I hope this rambling was in some way helpful. If you have any questions whatsoever about this topic, I'm happy to answer it in the comments down below, because if I'm being honest, I tried sketching out a script, so to speak, for this video, and I found myself going in circles. So yeah, maybe I'll take this win picking up as my segue to say thank you very much for watching. I always sincerely do appreciate it. If you're not already subscribed, please consider doing so, because we've got lots of modifications. I was on the phone and sending emails this morning, so I'm trying to make things happen for you. And at the end of the day, I hate to say it, but companies look at the number of subscribers as a reflection of whether they think that it's going to be worth it. So even if the video gets thousands and thousands of views, if I only have a couple hundred subscribers, then it's very likely that they're not going to want to participate, at least not now anyway. So if it's not too much to ask, please consider subscribing. And in the meanwhile, thank you very much. We'll see you in the next one. You take care, and bye for now.